conflict, so we'll go into that too. So hope you guys enjoy the content. It's going to be a lot of fun, things like that. So don't forget, if you're on X, don't forget to repost the show. It helps a lot there. Hopefully everything is going okay there. I don't even see myself on the screen at the moment. Yeah, I'm on screen. Yeah, it looks like I am. All right, let me know if there's any issues with the broadcast, but other than that, it looks fine. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that to show up. Let's see if the numbers pop up there on the studio deck. All right, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the news first, and of course we've got the stock market results. So US stock futures fall as tech remains skittish after Alphabet and SpaceX losses. So obviously we saw SpaceX go down quite dramatically, $30 over the trading period, which is pretty dramatic. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff on that. Let me. I'm just going to quickly check. The show is broadcasting. I'm not quite sure what's going on there with the studio. So let's go have a quick look, quick nosy, see if everything is broadcasting now. We are broadcasting, so it looks all right. Maybe the studio numbers will come in shortly. It's kind of bizarre. All right, so US stock futures fall as tech remains skittish after Alphabet and SpaceX losses. See the Nasdaq there down 1.3%, 350 points, 26,166. We've got the S&P 500 down a third of a percent, 28 points to 7,472. And the Dow Jones, the only one that's green, it's actually up a third of a percent, 148 points to 51,712. So if we look at the last month where we just had the record highs, we're just off the top. Record highs there, we're at 52,200. So we're off there about 500 points. S&P 500 is we're up at 76, so we're about 130 points, 40 points down. And the Nasdaq there, we were up at 27,167, so we're at about 1,000 points below the Nasdaq all-time high. That's pretty much it. It looks like we got somebody popping up on the studio, so I'm not sure. Hopefully the broadcast is broadcasting correctly. It looks like the numbers are flowing in now. All right, so we got the US dollar is at 100.81. That's the highest we've seen it for a long time. And if we look over the last year, the US dollar definitely got stronger there. Look at that. It's at the all-time high for the year. So that's up slightly. The VIX is also up 3%, so a little bit of risk off, just sneaky in there, but still on the risk on level down at the bottom. Moving to commodities, we got West Texas there rebounding just a little bit, par percent at the moment, up at $74.20. Let's have a look at the last week for that. In the chart, you can see that we did get up to 77, and we're back down to 74. So we are on the low end, coming off that big top. So if we look at the last month, we were up at 96. So we're still down quite a bit there, like $15, is it? Something like that? No, $12 maybe. The Brent oil is up just slightly as well, $77. You can see really come off the cliff there. We're up at 94, up at 95. So that's come down, quite a bit as well. What's it? Maybe $18. $18 there, yeah. And I said about $12, but it's probably more like $20 as well for West Texas. So down we go, which is kind of good. We're going to keep watching that. There's not, maybe about a $15 premium left in that oil price. And of course, that will depend on how, I guess, the oil traders and others, securing how they feel about the Iran-US, peace deal process. Now, we had a little bit of news about that, so we'll get into that shortly. Gold at the moment is down 0.5%, $22 to $4,180. If we look at the last year, we had the big rally in gold. That essentially rolled over, and we've called that pretty well on this channel, including the bull run and the time ahead, as well as taking profits and then also the rollover. So that's done pretty well there. It's at a critical level right now, at 4,000. So that you can see in this chart there, it's kind of quite critical. And we've got silver there as well, down 2%, and that's even more so, right? That's even more so. So silver at $64. Obviously, $60 is the next kind of level, $58 to $60. And that's pretty much it. Copper is probably going to continue to be pretty good with the economic boom that Trump's running in the US overall. And obviously, we've had a bit of a 2.5 month challenge with the Iranian conflict, right, to deal with the nuclear issue there. Great for the world, but not so great for politics, isn't it? When you try to do the right thing sometimes. SpaceX was also a major decliner, just like Alphabet overnight, tumbling about 60% as it reserve course. from a strong initial public offering and market debut. Elon Musk-led rocket company came under pressure after KeyBank analysts flagged more cautious stance in the stock, citing concerns over overvaluation. So there could be some big opportunities there to pick up some SpaceX. The other one, of course, is that they're going in the indexes at the turn of the month, which means there's probably about $300 or $400 billion going to flow in. We'll be watching that, I guess, over the next week or two. So that's something to the upside. And I think there's a certain amount of stock unlocks over a 6-month period. So that's the short term kind of bullish, longer medium term, maybe a little bit of opportunity there. Obviously, long term, we're hyper bullish about SpaceX and heading towards, probably 10 to $20 trillion valuation at some stage in the future. So keep a lookout for that. But in the short term, it's got to play out that sort of ramp up. All right, so that's kind of it at the moment. Obviously, we had the US-Iran peace process. The vice president there doing a great job, I think, navigating a very difficult situation. So President Trump obviously continuing to threaten Iran for more military action. If you've seen the art of the deal, pretty much fits in with his strategy. Art of the deal, create a lot of pressure and confusion. That's what he does, right? So if you're wondering, you think, oh, big idiot. Well, that's part of the strategy, is to create that confusion. So just when people think things are nice and firm, he creates that confusion, and that is a key play that he does all the time, and it's a part of the art of the deal. We've got Dave Vedder in the house there. Good evening, Superman. Hey, David, great to see you as always. Welcome to the chat there. We've got Craig Pitt as well, long-time OG and follower of the channel. Morning all. Always a pleasure to see you, Craig, as well. So pretty cool. So that is pretty much it. So while they're at the meeting, Trump's putting out aggressive statements and keeping it unsettled. So that's the key. If you have a comfortable opposition, then they feel more confident, right? So if you create it, and even if they decide to walk out, you've still unsettled the cart, and it creates this tension, and you can actually leverage that tension, that emotion, and that's what Trump does. So that's kind of the logic there. So we got the statements from Pakistan and Qatar mediators showed that both sides had agreed to more technical talks over the peace deal. So they ended up coming back into the discussions and having the deal move forward, which will be held in the coming days. The development offered some relief to markets, especially as oil prices fell sharply and neared pre-war levels. Like I said, we still got about a 15, maybe even a $20 premium in there for the risk, but we've come down 60% or so, maybe more. Probably about 60%. Followed through the Strait of Hormuz, we're also seeing improving. I think there's been like maybe 60 ships or something go through or something like that. The US and Iran agreed to a 14-point memorandum of understanding to end hostilities and hash out a more comprehensive peace plan with the 60-day peace period of talks. Beyond geopolitics, focus this week will be on the swathe of economic report as well, which we're going to talk about in a second. One thing that they will be doing is that any money unlock is actually not going to be given them to the Iranians back as cash, but as a purchase. They're going to directly use it for purchases of US agricultural products like soy and corn and things like that, and then sell that back. So they're not stupid enough to give them cash. I mean, they're not going to repeat the Obama disaster. And so that is also in play. We'll keep watching that moving forward. All right, let's jump into the economic quickly before we get into crypto. Obviously, there was a bit mixed results for the stock market overnight. And let's have a look at the Fed rate monitor right now. Now, I am actually kind of dovish on the Fed and not hawkish like some people are. I think that Wash was sending essentially that they're going to revise the way they do the numbers. And so I'm kind of in that camp. And so we'll expect to see that, not now, but towards the end of the year, maybe the end of third quarter. We'll keep a lookout from that then. July expecting no change, 3.5%, 3.75% on the Fed funds rate, 62%. September at the moment, slight increase there to 3.75 to 4%. So obviously the market sort of pricing on one move there at one interest rate rise at the moment. We'll see how that pans out into the fourth quarter of the year. Also the case in October and December. December, there's a bit of a split between whether it will be between 3.75, 4% or 4% and 4.25. So 2 rate rise there. I think that might dramatically change as we head towards the end of the year there if we get a resolve to the Strait of Hormuz coming up, because at the moment the price, we've already got a 6% reduction, so it's heading in the right direction there for that shorter term period, maybe 2.5 months impacts. And that's more of an impact on the world, let alone not really the United States. The United States is being a big net winner out of the oil crisis, and generally speaking. But obviously, you want to get it to reduce at the pump as well, because you've got the midterms coming up. And based on the analysis I saw a couple of days ago, midterms have actually swung back in favor of the Republicans slightly there, both the House and the Senate. So we'll be watching for that. All right, let's jump over to the economic news quickly. So it was the Fed. Let's go to the economic calendar here, coming up with some big numbers this week expected. So we're going to go to this week. We've got obviously Wednesday. We've got some global manufacturing, so the PMI. What else have we got? Core PCEs coming out. Remember, core PCE there strips out energy and food. So we've got the core PCE price that's kind of a large basket of goods, more comprehensive than CPI, and has typically in the past been the preferred measure for the Fed. However, we know that Chair Wash is going to be changing, I think, the whole data set. And so that's why I suspect we'll get lower inflation numbers coming in. And so, yeah, we've got the core PCE there, expecting for the 3.3% last month. We'll see what it comes in for this month. Obviously, we're still expecting it to be elevated given the straight of moves in oil prices. We've got GDP also coming in. So for the quarter one, Q to Q, we've got 1.6% forecast, 1.6% in the previous one. So we're watching that as well. Obviously, we're expecting GDP to start running away with all the investment that's taken place. We also got initial jobless claims coming out as well, 226. So strong GDP, strong employment number. That puts more pressure on the Fed regarding their dual mandate, right, for employment and inflation. So we've got both of those statistics are coming out on Friday. So a pretty big day heading into the weekend. So we're watching those results. Yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, so that is pretty much it. Let's jump into crypto. Have a look at that right now. We got the total crypto market cap at 2.277 trillion. Remember, this is very small. We've got big numbers expected long term. We're talking about people talking about 100 trillion, 200 trillion, 300 trillion over the next few decades, and particularly a strong re-rate in the next 10 years and the next 2 years in particular, because of the way things are rolling out with all the value add to the blockchain, particularly Ethereum, Solana, and a few others, right? So we got 2.27 trillion. We're down 0.6% today. We've got Bitcoin at the moment at $63,900, so down 0.9% at the moment, and down 3.6% for the week. Ethereum at number 2 is down 1.2% at $1,722. We are over my 1720 mark, and we did get above it quite strongly last night. We're down 3.7% still for the week, so still a bit of a drag. BNB is down 0.9%, $588. 4.7% for the week. XRP at number 6, down 1.5%, 9% for the week, at $1.13. Solana at number 7 is down 3.8%, down 3.6% today. Remember, that was quite good yesterday, so Solana also capitulating there a bit. Tron at the moment up 1.7%, 4.7% for the week at 33.3 cents, often a contrarian play in the top 10. And then number 10 is Hyperliquid, of course, the big star, down 3.6% today, 2% for the week at $66, and so that is the big move there. Let's have a look at the top 100, the best performers. The top 5, we've got Dexy making a big move. Surprise, surprise, up 61% and is up 16% for the week. So big day for Dexy. So if you're in that, congrats. Rain up 11% there. Provenance Hash up 9.5%. Lab up 7%, and Stable USD Tether chain there 7% there. So those are top 5 in the last 24 hours, I should say. Last week. We've got Lab at number 1, 75%, ADI up 17.7%, Rain up 16.5%, Dexy up 16%, and Jupiter up 9.8% there at the moment. And ADI has come in, I guess, in the top 100, sitting at number 96. We'll have a quick look at that. So that is ADI chain is a Ethereum layer 2 developed by ADI Foundation, support government, enterprise, institutional infrastructure there. It's built on a ZK Sync's ZK stack and powered by Airbender Prover, which delivers GPU accelerated zero knowledge proofs for fast, low cost, and secure transactions. So there we go. It's a bit of an insight into that. Current market cap at $550 million, I think at number 96 now. So that's a big move there. All right, let's jump into Bitcoin. Bitcoin itself on the chart. So we've got the weekly chart here. I've jumped straight to the weekly, but let's go to the daily quickly. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Let's go to the daily on the chart, and we'll have to reload that. Bam. And we came back down here for a new local low of 59,073. We've been fought way back up here to 67,000, come back down to 62,300, and then had a nice little attempt at 65,600 at the moment. So that's kind of where we are now. We've got on the daily on the Bitcoin, we've got the 50-day at 68,800. That's obviously a very key mark for us to hit to break to the upside, and that would be kind of the top of the resistances there. And we've got the 200-day at 77,500. Boy, has that come down, hasn't it? We were all the way fighting to get over 82, if you remember, and of course got rejected there. And then we have got the moving average now down 77. So that's almost down, or it's $4,500 down lower, and that's in terms of getting back to. It's probably a bullish thing for the future. Let's have a look at the weekly here again. The weekly at the moment, we've got the weekly 200 moving average at 68,700. See how that's the big moving average on the daily and the weekly, on the 50 and the 200. So we've got that's a key mark for us to break through. Keep looking for that one. And we've got the 50-day at 81,661 up there as well. Let's go directly to the monthly on Bitcoin. Give us our long-term view. Obviously, seldom has it been below the 50 monthly moving average, so always generally a good time to buy. As we can see, the only really extended period was back here in June 22 to January 23. Apart from that, it's generally been over, and so therefore, generally a good indicator, at least a good decent place to buy. So far, we have seen that the price has come down. If we come down to that 59 mark, then it's about 52%, 53% down. And some people are calling the bear scenario, of 70%. They want to see 70%. This would break the power law down though, and that would be around 37 to 40k. So that's a 70% correction there. Will we see it now? Those people that are looking for that, generally looking for that around October this year. And so there's a lot of people, keeping money on sidelines for that. But that's likely to be front run if that's the case, right? If everyone's thinking that, and then people are likely to front run that in September or something. And I'm kind of still fairly bullish from mid-July onwards. We'll keep a lookout for that too. Obviously, we've got after July, we've got August, right? And August has got the Clarity Act. If we get that through, obviously bullish. If we don't get it through, then it keeps the market down, and that would play into the hands of a more bearish scenario. And so we'll just have to keep tabs on that. That being said, we're also looking at the debt markets, and that's a big thing at the moment. That's struggling too. So all the bullish catalysts, apart from the Iran progress, is kind of negative, and the oil, of course, is still challenging. Let's say to the challenging / to the negative. So we're going to obviously watch to see whether we can get the Clarity Act through bullish, right? Any government acquisition bullish. So we keep looking for that into July, August. And of course, if the progress in Iran continues, we get the oil going back down towards $60. Then that's, I think, hyper bullish catalyst for crypto moving forward as well. Also, the other thing is the big IPOs with Anthropic, excuse me, OpenAI and Google. Obviously, we've seen SpaceX just pull back, so that's maybe less, could be less of a negative for crypto, and we may see some of the cash that's been flooding into the AI theme, which has pretty much been sucking the air out of the room, coming back into crypto a bit earlier. So look out for that. We've definitely got this 2026 is the year of the institutions coming into crypto. So we could get that pushback, from where we are right now with the 52% pullback. And that's kind of the camp that I'm biasing to at the moment, despite those challenges I just mentioned. So we'll keep a lookout for that. All right, so that's where we are right now. The monthly moving average is at 66,226. And we're definitely at even if you don't believe this, at the bottom scenario down to 37 to 40, was definitely in that catalyst and below the moving average of a good entry at this stage. Maybe the best entry, maybe the top of the range if it goes down to another level. But that's still pretty good. Now, obviously, going from 64k or 59k when we got in the bottom down to 37.40 is dramatically different. So we'll see what happens, see how that plays out in the future. And that's why we're watching the debt products so much, because they, I think, take a big role in giving us that support to the upside if we do get negative outcomes for clarity, etc. All right, so that is the BTC. Let's jump over to Michael Saylor's, some of the demand drivers, as it were. Well, Michael Saylor, their strategy has increased. So this is the weekly update we got last night. Every week they give us a new update on what they've been doing. Strategy has increased its USD reserve by $300 million to 1.4 million. So they're increasing their cash position, allows them to buy more Bitcoin, allows them to pay dividends, all that sort of stuff. And plans to continue replenishing it to support the credit quality of its digital securities there. So obviously, Michael Saylor has been under a lot of pressure and with the strategy and the digital credits. Only remember, we had 3 great months. So we had February, March, April. They were raising like $2 billion a month, buying 20, 25, 35,000 Bitcoin, which is a staggering amount. And we wanted that to continue, but last month that did not. What will happen this month? Right now, this month's also moved from monthly to fortnightly payments, which is pretty unique in the space. And we've got that first section coming up by the end of this month, right, the 30th, for that to go ex-dividend, right? So, as I say, it's going to be pretty important what we see happen this week. And of course, we've got all that economic news on Friday as well. So pretty interesting there. Now, they're obviously trying to shore up the market during this time. Now, it's still an early product if you think about it. So digital credit's still pretty early, and it offers a superior yield, and it's more just about momentum and confidence. I think that's going on right now. They are doing very large volumes, particularly compared to BlackRock ETFs. So that's a really hyper positive. And so they're citing it more as a liquidation event. I think Strive's analysis was that it was more around TradeFi liquidation events as opposed to the digital credit itself. Obviously, you've also got other critics, saying why raise debt back on a collateral like Bitcoin? You're just creating some sort of Ponzi, right? So you got these different arguments out there moving forward. I myself think that everything will be fine and it will just keep marching on once a bit of confidence comes back in the market there. And those volumes are very encouraging to that fact at the moment. We also acquired 520 Bitcoin for 35 million, increasing our big Bitcoin reserve to 847,363 Bitcoin, which is pretty staggering. They're heading towards that 1 million Bitcoin, and it's pretty exciting to get there. Now, the only criticism, of course, would be that this Bitcoin is getting raised with a negative MNAV. That is a market net asset valuation. And remember, typically you only want to issue more shares when you got a positive MNAV over 1, right? So your market value should be equal to or greater, basically greater than your net asset value, right? The value of your actual Bitcoin and holdings there. So that is been obviously the big criticism at the moment. But there's something to be said by even though it might be considered dilution, there's something to be said for being consistent, and you just plow through, keep accumulating, increase the reserve, and you just give it that confidence back in the market. So that's kind of the way I see it. And every week they've been, I think last week they bought 1,500, didn't they? To this week 500 there, and also increase their cash position. You can kind of see they're just trying to firm up that consistency and confidence in the market there. All right, so that is from them. Now we've got some pretty interesting stuff here on strategy itself. You can see they've got an MNAV of 1.11. This is for me, it's somewhat misleading. I don't know why they use this one, but we've seen this up at 1.2, 1.3. I think it's been as high as 2 when last year when it was rallying. You can see the Bitcoin value there, 647,000. Now this is the key measure now, right? Is Bitcoin per share in Satoshis, 218 per share. And this is the one you want to grow, right? So it's definitely been coming down, and that's the one you want to grow there moving forward, right? It was growing early in the year with those big purchases, just been coming back, of course, with potentially these diluted purchases at the moment. Hey, good to see Ares in the house there. Welcome. Loving the fires there. Very excited. So that's kind of where we are right now with the strategy. Now I want to look further into that MNAV, around this dilution, and then we've got here on Bitcoin Quant, we've got a whole ton of different measures here, which are fantastic. You can see that the MSTR, this is the MSTR members of the common stock for holding that Bitcoin. The MNAV with the enterprise value is 0.84, so not 1.12 when we use the other measure, but 0.84. The MSTR MNAV just for market cap, so that's market cap divided by Bitcoin net asset value, is actually at 0.55. So you take those measures in there. That's if you're buying Bitcoin, raising capital, you're at a negative MNAV. So that's some of the criticism, and it's probably a fair cop at the moment. But I do think the trade-off there is confidence and momentum, and so I think that's probably the right thing to do at the moment. Some people are saying do nothing at the moment, and just let the sentiment pass by. That's definitely a plausible strategy, but I think at the end of the day, if you're a digital asset treasury heading towards the 1 million, then it's better to just do buy a little bit here and there and be slightly dilutive in that sense. I think that's probably a better play. So I think Michael Saylor's playing it the right way, in my view. Let me know what your thoughts are in the chat there. And that's pretty cool. So we've got enterprise value at 58 billion. You put it on the little eye here. You've got market cap plus debt plus preferred minus cash, right? So it gives you the definitions if you want to know what they all mean. So 58 billion there, enterprise value. You can see the market value at the moment is only 38.3. So there's all these unrealized losses, right? And that's just the equity market value there. So, and then you've got the formulas there with the ratios. So for the MNAV. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's gives a lot of interest there. Obviously, the debt has been reduced. Remember, we're up at 8.3 or something a billion. Now they're at 6.8. So they've been reducing that, which I think is a smart move. And they did that at less than $1. I think they got 10 cents off of the dollar on that debt. So that was a very good move there. And so that's pretty positive. What else they got there? So some good numbers there at the moment, and obviously they're under a bit of pressure, but I think the best thing is what he's doing, and that is building a bit of cash, buying a bit of Bitcoin, continuing on the ethos of Bitmine vision, and we'll see what's happening with the stretch products, right? So that's the common stock. That's some of the criticisms out there, but I think he's doing the right strategy overall. I think a do nothing strategy is probably okay, but actually you want to go to the market and say, hey, look, we're continuing on with our strategy of being the big digital asset treasury there, heading towards 1 million. We know that his ambition is to go well past that, unlike Bitmine Emission, which is possible, that they want to go, maybe up to 2 million Bitcoin. We'll see. All right, so that's pretty much it around the MNAV. Now, I want to quickly talk about the rainbow chart. That you guys might see that I'm not really a big fan of the rainbow chart. If you remember the rainbow chart for Hex, it was always pretty laughable. I used to laugh when people used to show it and talk about X with it, because I knew it was going to crash and burn. Let's see what happened. And what do we see here? So we've got the rainbow chart for this is the original rainbow chart for Bitcoin. You can see that it's dropped out of the rainbow chart. So really, it kind of breaks down, right? It kind of breaks down. I guess you could add more rainbow slithers, but it's now in the full-on buy sort of category. It's got fire sale in blue, and it's got Bitcoin dead in purple. Well, we're not dead because we're still at $4,000 or so, and it's got so we're right in the zone. So we're gone off the chart. So in any case, I think that's if you want to use this as a supportive indicator, then it's a good buying time, right? That's what it's saying. Although I think once it goes off the chart here, unless they want to make some more levels, what are they going to call it? Bitcoin's dead to infinity and beyond. I don't know, but that is where the rainbow chart is at the moment. Anyway, let's go to the chart that's still working relatively good, and that is the long-term power law. And this is ticking away, and we can see that it's still holding within the bounds of the for the power law here. And so we're going to zoom in on the current period, and you can see that we are bounced off the bottom there. 59 was essentially a bounce. It was I think it was 58,400 or no, 58,400. 58,400. Let's just round it. That it could have bounced off, and it was got to 59. So we've already bounced off that area. We're sort of tinkering around here right now. And that's potentially suggestive that we could really rally pretty big. 200,000 is the midpoint by the end of the year, and I'm feeling pretty good about that number. And we got 71,000 as a floor price by the end of the year. Into June next year, we got 230 with a floor price of 82. I'm very confident with that as well. In fact, I think we should be able to balloon past that. Tom Lee has 250, and I think that's in the ballpark. So even though it's a permeable, that's kind of in the ballpark there. And by the time we get to the end of 2028, sorry, 27, I should say. We'll be at 274 as the midpoint with a floor of 97. So, if this model holds up, then it's up and to the right, right? It would take a lot of extreme data points to drag this chart down as it's, dynamic as we move forward. But yeah, it'd be pretty crazy. So I think this is going to probably hold up pretty well. Now, obviously, if we broke down into this 40K range, which is this bear scenario, that would break this chart right down, right? If it especially happened very quickly. So yeah, that's something we'll look out for there. But at the moment, this is giving us a bit of confidence that maybe that 59K was the bottom, 52% pullback. And the argument would be that we've had all this digital asset treasury, ETF, and institutional support holding up the chart. And of course, we've got this mega trend from the individuals selling their Bitcoin over to the institutions, right? This is the big thing that's happening. And it will be a multi-year process, but definitely we've seen a big part of that ever since the ETFs really kicked in and the digital asset treasuries really started accumulating a lot of Bitcoin, including Michael Saylor's strategy, which has been dramatic over the last 2 years, right? So that 2-year phase is the beginning of institutions that's ramping up to another level this year, and next year is going to be another level yet again. And it is a multi-year process as they take over the blockchain and crypto. That's the bad news, guys. But there's always going to be a DeFi chain. You guys know what it is, right? Pulsechain, right? Pulsechain. All right, so that's kind of cool. Most armies in health there. I left Pulsechain for chip stock, says Most Army. Hey, well, there probably quite a few people did the old AI move. That's worked out very well for you. You can come back and pick up lots of cheap Pulsechain right now. All right, so that is where we are on the charts there. And of course, the power law chart here. Let's just refresh this one more time. Let's do the moon math quickly. So when's the earliest time the power law might suggest that we could get up to $1 million? Well, that is June 2028, right? So we'll be looking out for that in the future. But certainly a lot of people by 2030 feeling pretty confident that we may get there. In terms of the middle line at the moment, the green line there, so not even the purple line at the top, but we're looking around about, let's say, around about September 3032 on the midline. But we know we're going to get a power part of this curve, and so we'll probably get there much earlier than 2032. And of course, by 2032, there's only going to be about 330,000 Bitcoin left to mine, and we'll have 2 more halvings by that time, right? So we go 450 down to 225 down to, was it 112.50 or something? So we're going to be, there's not going to be hardly any Bitcoin being emitted. So big deal there, and we'll have so many more buyers and stuff that it's essentially will be dramatically net deflationary, right? From that point of view, that you won't see the light of day for a lot of Bitcoin. So that is kind of the play at the moment. I consider the 126 kind of our mid market cycle high. Obviously, there's a lot of people who would differ with that, but we're still expecting, in my view, the banana part of the curve, which we just need the right setup for that, and maybe we start getting it after the August if we get a positive Clarity Act and into counter move after October. So if everyone's going to pile their money into October, then obviously Q4 is looking very good. And so I think that's a fair timeline. So we're probably only talking differences of months here, but that's what we're expecting. Tom Lee suspects that we'll have the next 2 years will be the most accretive out of a 10-year bull market in blockchain and Ethereum and Bitcoin. So that's kind of that's the thesis, right? And we're seeing all the substantiations, right, which is stablecoins, tokenization, AI, and all that sort of stuff coming to the chain. All right, so Ethereum at the moment, let's have a look. Ethereum at the moment, we're going to quickly go through Ethereum. Let's go to the daily. Let's keep a track of time here. So we're up to 34 minutes on the hour. Now, if you guys haven't hit the subscribe on YouTube, smash it right now. And if you are on X, don't forget to hit the follow button on X and repost the show as well. Hit those double arrows there, circle arrows, and let's get it going. What else do we got there? We got X1's in the house there. 28 million on Pulsechain. What gives? Nice chart. Check the LP's WebChef there. Yeah, well, we always look at WebChef X1 because it's always doing some fun things on the chart, even though it's probably one of the higher risk return opportunities there in the chain. So I always got to let people know that. All right, so Ethereum at the moment on the daily. Let's have a look at the charts here, right, where you got all the way down on the 6th of June down to 1,505. That's not too far away from last time, right? $1,400 when we had the big rally last year, the 3.5x. in 133 days. So we've still got, it was at the bottom. If Bitcoin's the bottom, then yeah, that's still down 70%, right? So Ethereum down 70% there. So that's, people might consider that a full correction there. And we're back at 1725 right now. So let's have a look at the moving averages. So the moving average for 50 is at $1,900. So obviously you get over that. And then the orange 200-day moving average is at $339. Let's go to the weekly quickly. This is what happened last year, guys. So we could get this happening later in the year, right? That's what I'm suggesting is going to happen. We're obviously hyper bullish about 2027 as well. Obviously, we want to get a good result in the midterms in November. So far, polling is, I think, moved back in favor of the Republicans. Earlier in the year, it was moving towards the Democrats. I think it's moved back again. And obviously, with some key messaging and things like that from now on, we could get that firming up perhaps before November. So that's where we are right now on that. Are we going to get this move? 133 days. Remember how quick it all happens. So imagine coming down this side here. We had all the tariffs and it was so negative, and we were down at $1,400, and then bam, up we go. 133 days, and you're making 3.5x on Ethereum. So just remember, once the market makers sort of rotate back in, we've obviously had the AI boom that quickly this market can turn around very quickly, and you can be left behind, so to speak. So there we go. That being said, the short-term view is still volatile to the negative, I would say. So we've got the weekly moving average here. We've got a death cross coming in just about to touch right now. I think it will be short-lived, but it's still touching. And we're at 1726 right now. So the question is, are we going to go down again? If we obviously break down what we did last year at 1400, are we going to go down even further down to 12, 1300? That's what some people have in the bearish scenarios. So it's always worth mentioning that. But here at the moment, I think we're looking pretty good at 1726. But we do have a death cross there, which is favour a negative downward move. So just note that. So, hopefully fundamentals beat that out moving forward. And that is the chart 5 year. Obviously, 5 years we've been in a long-term accumulation. Last year, this big rally, obviously we had the digital asset treasuries all kick into gear from June onwards. We had the tariff relief sort of politics, and then we had the short covering as well, right? So 3 key things there, giving us a beautiful rally, 256%. What will it be this year? Well, we've got potentially the Clarity Act. We've got a little bit more of the digital asset treasuries. And we've got all the big mega things happening with tokenization and AI payments. So those would be the key drivers that could help move this up. And the price will be delayed, right? Price is lagging the beginning of those catalysts, because those catalysts are on takeoff phase right now, right? So once they get out of takeoff phase, which they are pretty close to doing, we could see some pretty big things happening. And by October, we're expecting DTCC, which is the big waterworks for traditional markets. They manage essentially $114 trillion, and they'll be fully in by October. They start off doing some trials. I think they've got more stuff happening in July, and then the trials have been going very well, and they've been making all these partnerships. And then by October, they're all in. So all the assets just come in and just start ramping up real big time, so that by next year, instead of being a $35 billion tradable, which is taken off from last year, which is amazing results, we could be in the trillion plus mark by next year, right? So keep a lookout for that, and multi-trillions within 2-3 years, right? So that's the whole play, and it's happening, right? So then price will follow, catch up to that, re-rate the network compared to all that value being added. And then, of course, on top of that, we've got the AI boom, etc., and continued stablecoin acceleration. So it's some of the big stuff happening there, and so we'll keep watching out for that. Last time we were down really low was back here in June 22. We got to a low of 880. So these downward scenarios are not out of the ballpark. Just need the right news for that. But at the moment, I think we're still looking pretty good here for trying to find the bottom, as long as we get the right news coming and the right flows. But certainly by October, I think we're looking pretty good in the old crypto market for the boom ahead. All right, so that is some of the news there. Let's look at some specific catalysts for Ethereum. Well, we had the Bitmine, which is a number of digital asset treasury on Ethereum. It is doing very well indeed for the most part. Obviously, it's been under a lot of pressure into the sort of price. It is a leverage on Ethereum. So if leverage is Ethereum's down, it's likely to be down even more. If Ethereum's up, it's likely to be up even more. The only difference was last year, but last year it was kind of accumulating, so it had a big positive theme to it. But under normal circumstances, it would probably have that negative or positive bias, right? So you get the benefit there with the MNAV. So Bitmine provided its latest holdings for the 22nd of June, 10.7 billions in total crypto and moonshots. Now remember, they've probably invested something like 19 billion. So they've got all these unrealized cash losses at the moment. But they're up dramatically. So they're heading up very nicely, all within about a year too. So they're targeting 6,034,000 ETH, I think it is, which is 5% alchemy, right? 5% of the Ethereum network. Ethereum network says 120.7 million ETH. And so at the moment, they're holding 5,672,956 ETH. Pretty exciting. I think the average price is around $3,400. So obviously they've got unrealized losses, and there's they need the price of Ethereum at least to get to that and get back to break even and then up to the upside, right? Now they do have moonshots, and moonshots could help them get there quicker because you don't just need crypto; they've got these investments, and those investments are strategic. So Tom Lee obviously doing the digital asset treasury, but that's just the foundation. He's going to have a lot of products come off the back of that. But actually, I think he's building out finance and mass adoption on Ethereum. That is the big play. I know it sounds counterintuitive. A lot of people focused on the digital asset treasury, and sure, it's important, but actually, he's the one that's going to change the game, and people will look back and see that for what it is. And we've got one of those moves that happened today. We'll talk about that. So we've got $200 million stake in Mr. Beast. This is the big way to get mass adoption. This would target Generation Z, Generation Alpha, and part of the millennials. They're also going to get the wealth transfer as well from the older generations. So that's very important. Also, they're obviously very tech savvy. They're growing up in the tech revolution. Of course, the first real generation. Well, I don't know. Would you say it was the generation X's? Probably the first full on one. But some might even say the boomers kind of played a part as well. Obviously, they made a lot of the early tech, right? You guys ever seen those big transistors? But anyway, we got all that happening, right? So computers really kicked into gear in the 80s, right? So offices got the first early PCs in the early 80s. And then it was a big ramp up to 1995 with the big revolution of Windows, right? 95 came out and that changed the whole game there. So fun times. And of course, we had the dot-com boom. Internet, of course, boom around 2000 into the late 90s, 2000s, and onwards and upwards from there, right? So iPhone, what was iPhone, 2005 something, and onwards and upwards to now. And now we've got AI, and we're going to have humanoid robots next year. So welcome to the future, guys. It's going to be pretty crazy fun. All right, and scary too. Scary too. We're at 104 million stake in ALGO Holdings. This has obviously got OpenAI and WorldCoin Digital ID, and as seen as key components to separate out the difference between AI and humans. That's kind of the idea there. Now, there's lots of criticisms to be had with that. Obviously, we were in DeFi, and so we preferred not to have these kind of things. Total cash and marketable securities of $600 million. So they've still got plenty of cash there. And I guess at 2,000 Ethereum, they could buy another 300,000 ETH. So that would put them, close to 6 million. So they're not far away, guys. If they use their cash, in fact, they'd put them just over, right? Because we're down further. So you're talking about they're pretty much, if they spend all that cash, they could probably buy the rest of the ETH up, right? Which is pretty cool. So I don't know what else they're going to be using the money for. They might be out buying other companies. But that would be pretty exciting. Let's see here. What have we got? The price of ETH right now? What did I just say it was? 17.20. So yeah, that's another 350,000 ETH. So 350 plus 5, 6, 7, 2, 9, 5, 6. So that would put them at 6 million and 22,000 ETH. So that's about 10,000, maybe 12,000 short of the perfect number. So they're essentially got enough cash to get themselves to that 5% if they wanted to right now. But I suggest they'll probably take another week or so. Let's see. So that is big news there. So that's huge. And the question is, will Tom Lee, he discussed this several weeks ago, will Tom Lee decide to go to past 5% and head towards 10%? A bit like how Michael Saylor is ambitious to go past 1 million and maybe up to 2 million. Will Tom Lee decide to go past 5%? Now we know that 10 to 12% is kind of the end of the sort of the cornerstone holder because of the network effects that it has, but it also gives a lot of stronger support, getting all that ETH off the market and buying demand as well. So we'll see where he decides to land there moving forward. We need a few more clues around that, I think. Bitmine meets eligibility criteria to be into the Russell 1000. That is coming up. So that's a bullish catalyst. That's in only a couple of days' time on the 26th. So that is huge. I think it's after market. So that will probably be trading the 29th. So we could see a bit of a run up here for Bitmine emission. That's BMNR ticker with maybe a 10 to 15% uplift possibly. Let's say 5 to 15% to be more cautious. 5 to 15% uplift with passive managers having to come in and buy up automatically because it goes into the index into the Russell 1000. And it's going to Russell 3000, but it's got big enough to be in the Russell 1000. And so we're going to get re-indexing. That's also going to be the case for the end of this week, right? So we're going to have re-indexing, and it's going to affect a lot of companies, and including SpaceX coming up. So many active managers only buy equities in the Russell 1000. So not only will we get passive investors having to buy for the index, we'll get a lot more attention from active managers as well. So an estimated 20 to 25% of the market cap of a stock is held by passive index funds. So I'm saying 5 to 15%, but it might even go higher than that. And you can see that Bitmine emission there is in the 3000 Russell Index reconstitution, and that it's also qualifies with the market cap because it's over 5.7 billion, up 10, 11 billion. It gets into the Russell 1000. So very, very bullish, guys. Very, very bullish. Even the Russell mid cap, right? So Russell mid cap as well. So keep a lookout for that. One day it might very well be in the Russell 2000 once it does quite a few X's there. So that is hyper bullish. We could see that play in this week and get a recovery in that MNAV too, right? As the market cap goes up with the market price. So keep a lookout for that. Very, very cool. Now, comments over the last week, we acquired 52,000 ETH, so still buying significant amount of ETH. We've seen a number of other whales buy ETH this week as well. We continue to maintain a steady pace of accumulation through 2026. We believe we are in the early stages of crypto spring, and Bitmine is expected to reach the alchemy of 5% sometime in 2026. Well, as I showed you, they essentially got enough cash to basically be there now if they wanted to. They could probably buy that this week and be only very shy of that perfect number of 6 million, and I think it's 34,000 if I remember rightly. 52,000 buys, 77,000 the previous week, 127,000 the week before that, and then they only did 27,000 the week of 6th of January. And remember, that was when they came out and said, "Oh, we're going to slow down our purchases." But then ETH price crashed with the Bitcoin crash, and then they've gone for gold on buying up cheap Ethereum, and that's brought their average purchase price down, right? So that's the other benefit from them. All right, so and they got enough cash to go all the way. So that's a big news there. Number 4 there, as of 21st of June, Bitmine total staked ETH stands at 4.7 million. Now, this is pretty interesting. Why haven't they staked the rest of it? Obviously, the staking queue is pretty full, but it's come back a little bit. But I think we're at record levels now. Was it 30, almost 33%? I think it is stakes, and there's basically no one wants to leave the stakers queue for Ethereum. It takes about 57 days, 58 days, let's just say 2 months to get through. But man, the yield earning about 2.73% real right now. Their annualized staking revenue, $223 million. And they can do a lot of things with that, right? And we've already seen them issue some debt, preferred stocks, at 9.5%. And that's about 10% of this cost, right? So pretty bullish there. So let's see what happens here. I think they're going to be, that remaining ETH maybe strategically used for probably their Maven staking platform, which they're also doing for other customers, not just for themselves, but they've got about $2 billion or so under management for others, and not just Ethereum, but on Solana and I think Pulsechain. And this is why I suggest to you that they're probably going to use that for the rollout of finance and mass adoption with their Maven and their app coming out, or we haven't seen the app, but we suggest that that's going to be the case, and that service likely routed through Mr. Beast. I think that's just the logical place for it to go. We'll see how that all falls with the Mr. Beast app there, and we could see mass adoption happen very quickly with Mr. Beast, right? 1 in 3 people watch Mr. Beast videos, and you see him when he's doing his videos, buy my chocolate, buy this app, download this app, and it has a big impact, right? So now he wants to go into banking And of course, he just recently hit over $1 billion in revenue because he realized that he's not going to be super young forever, and he's got to make the big gains now, and that's what he's doing. So kind of cool. So big money coming up there. BMR traded average daily volume 707 million. So still doing really well there, ranking number 219 out of 5,700 companies on the US listed index stocks. So very, very cool. Some good stuff happening there. So this is really heading in the right direction, and we'll see what happens once you reach 5% because it's not too far away at all. All right. So the other big thing that Tom Lee's been involved with, he's been teasing the market because the ETH Foundation has been reducing its staff. They've obviously only got, I think, about 100,000 ETH left now. They've obviously had a lot of, flack for selling ETH to fund the team and development. Excuse me. And there's been some drama around that's going to cost them about $30 million, and they're going to run out of money, right? But Tom Lee comes in and goes, no. We're going to show leadership, and we're going to fund you guys, right? We're basically going to fund you guys, guaranteed. And then suddenly we get EthLabs launched, right, with a lot of ex-Ethereum staff. And here we go. So announcing EthLabs, and I've been talking about this, right? I said this is where that's going. Announcing EthLabs, a non-profit R&D lab for Ethereum and ETH. Our mission is to make Ethereum the settlement layer of the global economy. Who else says that Ethereum could re-rate at $60,000 as a settlement layer at minimum? Well, that's Tom Lee, right? So Tom Lee there. That's obviously based on other people's analysis as well, but settlement layer for the global economy there. And I did say that instead of having a whole ton of geeks like Vitalik determine ultimately the direction of the chain, which he's made mistakes on in the past, and he actually reverted back to the more DeFi approach, back to the Richard Hart vision for a blockchain. We've obviously got this going on as well with the settlement layer. We've obviously got the Glamsterdam upgrade coming with 10,000 transactions, etc., all that sort of stuff. I think there's only going to continue, and now it's going to be funded by Tom Lee. Now, I don't see it as a negative, I see it as a massive positive because this is what we want, right? We want finance to come over to Ethereum. We want mass adoption, and we want to re-rate the chain. This is just a reality. If you want to, get mad gains, you need the money to come, right? And the people. The internet became global because shared protocols created a common language between networks. Private systems remained useful but bounded. Finance is approaching a similar moment as value, assets, and markets become digital. The world needs shared settlement infrastructure, and of course, they want modernized, superior technology, and that's what we're looking at. Blockchain, right? Ethereum is uniquely positioned to become that shared base layer, the neutral foundation on which users, institutions, and agents can transact without immediate intermediation. And of course, it's the institutions here that we're really pulling into the game here, and then mass adoption users will come via these banking kind of apps, these kind of however those are delivered in the future for mass adoption there. So we've got a lot of stuff happening here right now. And of course, we're going to have humans, we're going to have institutions, and we're going to have agents. And of course, a lot of agents will be AI agents and little payment systems going around. We believe credible neutrality matters. We believe ETH matters. We believe DeFi matters. So that's interesting. Markets, liquidity, credit, exchange, coordination, open to everybody. We believe adoption matters. And of course, these are all fitting into Tom Lee's categories, right? So obviously, all these are things that he's keen on. We sit between two worlds, real usage from builders at the frontier and the protocol that has to support it. We work with users, applications, wallets, layers 2, infrastructure teams, institutions, ETH holders, core devs, and researchers, then turn what they actually need into the protocol. And this is what I said is going to be a big shift in the Ethereum future, right, which is bullish for everybody. And this lines up with Tom Lee. Tom Lee obviously wants these things to happen so that he can bring in finance, institutions, and mass adoption. So, it has to be a shift. Shared standards, infrastructure, and ship products. EthLabs is independent, but Ethereum is a shared project. We are one node in a much larger network of stewards. This is a multi-node future. We have spent the better part of the past decade contributing to Ethereum core research and development. We are opinionated and transparent. We move with urgency, learn in public, and correct course when wrong. We are building a lean, talent-dense team of people who want to do the most important work for the careers. So there we go. If you want to join up there. So pretty big there. Now they're also supported by a lot of DeFi builders, core devs, layer 2 founders, cyberpunks, investors, institutions, researchers there. and you can see a long list of names here involved with that. So there we go. Tom Lee's name's not on there, but you get the idea. He's running the leadership there. So pretty cool. That is where we're heading, and there's going to be some trade-offs, right? If you're a purist in DeFi, you know, you're just going to have some things that you won't like. But look, it's just the reality. Value is coming, and we've got a leader, Tom Lee, Bitmine, leading it there. Now, who else is funding it? Well, SBIT is funding it, right? The second biggest digital asset treasury. So the world is changing, guys. And what do you think? When institutions come, if you're going to have mass adoption and finance come to the blockchain, then it's going to be done with their leadership, right? So you have to sacrifice some of your principles for mad gains. I'm brutal, I know, but this is the reality, right? That's it. That's where we're at right now. All right, so that's good news overall. Very cool, and in line what we suspected is going to happen there. That's why Tom Lee's, not too worried about the debt. Obviously, that will correct itself if you bring value to the chain and turn it into the payment rails. Then you're going to get massive re-rate in the chain, and it's going to happen violently, like we saw last year, right? Violently. Do you like that one? Violent defections there. All right, so that is where we are with Ethereum. Let's go into some other stuff. So obviously we're looking at the digital asset treasuries, and we can see that SATA at the moment, even SATA, which has been the darling in the recent times, ranked at number 7 on the Bitcoin strategies there. I was supposed to talk about this under the Bitcoin section, but hey, we'll get to it now. It's $2.84 below the threshold. Obviously, we're looking for this to go over $100 this week as well. It's definitely been performing better with a higher yield. Remember, the yield's 13%. So we'll be looking at that. And at the moment, the rankings on the digital assets, obviously we've got Strategy with Michael Saylor with 847,000 Bitcoin. And then we've got Strive sitting here at 19,864. Now, they last week bought more than what was indicated on the estimations, right? So they bought about, I think, 750. We estimated 600. So they got more Bitcoin there as well. So it's kind of cool. So that is Strive, and they're almost at 20,000. So congratulations to them. I think that's pretty good, right? So let's have a look at the digital assets treasury before we get into Pulsechain. And as you guys can see, we're really trying to keep up to date with all the big things that are really pumping money in. There's a lot of technology and applications that are doing well, and we cover those from time to time, like tokenization. We delve into that. But actually, where's the money coming from? Well, it's coming from these digital asset treasuries offering digital credit to debt markets. So we're just harvesting the debt market. Debt market's 300 trillion plus, so we just get a fraction of that. A lot of capital flows into Bitcoin, and it never sees the light of day, right? Because it gets stuck in, for the most part, in the digital asset treasuries themselves. So it just creates that scarcity, increased scarcity, deflation, and increases the chance for even bigger price rises, right? And the other one, of course, is we're following equity and finance coming to Ethereum and Solana and other chains, because that's going to bring a lot of equity, right? A lot of capital as well. So those are the cash flows, and we know that Bitcoin and Ethereum there are dominating most of the value coming in. So that's kind of important there. Obviously, that value can go into applications, which is kind of the next level down, as we say, tokenization and stuff. All right, so we've got SATA right now sitting at $97.63, I think it is, although I think that showed us at $98. So we got, I'm not sure if there's aftermarket. There might be aftermarket. We got Stretch there at $88.19. So Stretch really struggling, and that's why it's getting a lot of coverage, a lot of flack. And that's why I think the best strategy that Michael Saylor is doing is just business as usual. Keep buying Bitcoin, even if it's dilutive, and keep raising a bit of cash to firm up the dividend payments. And then what can people really, challenge? And is the market big enough to tank the price down to doomsday levels? And I just don't think so. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're on 11.5% on the rate there, 30% for SATA. Now, both of these have revolutionized things, right? Stretch is finally going to buy monthly dividends this month. Awesome. So that will be the first payment will be on July 15th. And then SATA is going to basically daily, right? Which is game changer stuff. So imagine being at your broker and you're holding SATA. Now, obviously, you can buy these products now decentralized as well. But if you have your old broker account, then you're going to get your US dollars just hit your account, and just basically every day, right? So it's pretty crazy stuff. They're really changing the game there in the digital credit markets. Remember that money markets are like 2 to 4%, maybe private credit around 8.5%, and these guys are offering 11.5 to 13%. So really no real comparison there, and it's still early days, so there's still a bit of a maturity thing to process happening, but the liquidity is definitely flowing, giving good support that these will be around for a long time. All right, so what else we got? Have a look at Stretch. We're going to have a look at Stretch, aren't we? Now, will we get to $100 very quickly over the next few days? That's the question. Are we by Wednesday or Thursday? We shall see. But at the moment, we have not been raising any capital with the old Stretch. So we had 330 million volume the last day. What day was that? That was the 22nd. It was yesterday, but we had no ATM proceeds. In other words, it never got back to $100. $100.01. And so they weren't able to raise any capital, right? We can see that on the chart there. That has to get back up to this orange line, and it's way below that. In fact, it's terribly below. It has been here, I think, 4 or 5 times before, but I think we're probably going to have the longest time down at the bottom here. Typically, I think 25 days was the longest. I think we're already up to like 22, 3 days. So it's definitely pushing that. But we have seen this below, dramatically below, at least 4 or 5 times. I think it's the 5th time now. But certainly a lot of challenge at $88.23. But we are getting good volume, right? We are getting good volume. So will this return back to $100 for the first bi-monthly payment? That's basically what's at stake here. And there's a week to go, right? A week to go. It's only weekdays, so I guess we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we've got Monday, and I guess that's it. Monday's the last, because 30th, I'm pretty sure, is the ex-dividend. And so I don't think it includes that day. So that would be 4 days to go. If it doesn't go by Wednesday, Thursday, we'll Friday or Monday suddenly get back to $100 and we raise $1 or $2 billion and be back on track. Now, maybe we don't raise that much. Maybe we raise $500 million, but anything's going to be positive. But certainly, hopefully, we'll get a bit of rally there and people start wanting to earn on a more frequent basis there, both for Stretch and Strive. And of course, they raise billions of dollars from the debt markets. That's all pumping up the Bitcoin, giving us price support and increasing that structural change in the charts. That's kind of the backdrop there. So that's why we're following it very closely, right? And that will hopefully flow into the Pulsechain and as well, with all that money coming in. We've got John in here, all in Pulsechain. Hey, good to see you, John. Welcome. And so we're going to get to cover the Pulsechain now. Now, Pulsechain, of course, is a full system state copy of Ethereum. We have had a lot of challenges since Pulsechain has been running over the last 3 years. I won't go through all that this time. Sometimes I do. But we're on day 1,137. We've got the Pulsechain price, which I haven't got up at the moment. Let me pull that up. And let's go look for it again. We've been following the Pulsechain price pretty closely. We've been in a fight for the bottom of the charts, and once it's found, it's going to be very difficult to get back on the ship, right? So if you can time the bottom, pick up as much pulse as you can, awesome stuff, right? Awesome stuff. So we're at the price at the moment, a pulse at 50,6,700 right now. So we'll come back to this chart in a minute. So 50,67, we're only down a little bit today, 0.25% on pulse. Just remember that when we look at the top 100 charts. Hex on Pulsechain at the moment up 1.2%, sitting at 95,000th of a penny. And we can see that we're not too far away from losing a zero. So if we can do that, that's good. ProvX at the moment, 4041, up 1.4%. Pulsex at the moment at 505 something, down 1%. And Ink Token there at 30 cents, up a third there. Now, obviously, Pulsex does well. It's probably going to drag up Ink Token, although I'm really not a big fan of Ink Token, as you guys know. And I like to say it because it feels good. I'm just kidding. All right, so there we go. All right, so let's go over to the validators. We've been losing lots of validators over the last week or so, and we're still sitting at yesterday's total around about 44,900. But we were sitting pretty comfortably about 51,000, and now we're all the way down at 44.9. So there we go. And I haven't seen any commentary on it, but that's where we are. Let's go get stats. We're at 5,000 beats, pretty normal. We're pretty much here most days. 75 pulse for a Pulsex swap, 5,000th of a penny, US terms. And then finally the bridge, which is kind of our leading indicator. We're back at 50 million. Woohoo! 50 million, guys. That's a good thing, right? All right, million. We're back. And of course, we came off a low a week or two ago, probably 2 weeks, of 47.53, I think it was. 59, yeah, 47.59. And so we're up from there. So, pretty cool. What's it? Just over 2.5 million, is it? Something like that. About $2.5 million. So we're fighting the fight. We've got lots of idle stablecoins on Pulsechain, just sitting around doing nothing, probably waiting for July. Does anyone know what I mean when I say July? Let me know in the chat if you know what I mean when I say July. All right, so we got that going on. Let's jump into the Pulsechain charts then. We'll go full screen. So we're only down a bit at the moment. We've got the biggest fight on the old Pulsechain. We're having a lot of value rollout on Pulsechain, which is really exciting. So it's not like the chain doesn't have a future because we've got value rolling out. We've got devs doing the work, and we've got activity going on. But we're at the bottom of the chart, arguably. Low volumes, right? These are all bullish things from Richard Hart's point of view. Low volumes, low prices. Plenty of pulse running around. So kind of ideal kind of conditions for finding the bottom and having a big move to the upside. So yeah, let's see what happens. But over 3 years here, we've got this big yellow line, and that's our big mega downtrend. And that's been a great time for people to mock the chart and mock the community and all that sort of stuff. We've had a lot of good people leave, and it's a psychological game as much as it is a crypto game. And here we are. And so we've had a new local bottom. These are the weekly candles, and we've had a new local bottom of 5 zeros, 5,400. So I'm just going to take out the 5 zeros and just talk about 5,400 at the bottom here. And we are up at 6,700 right now, right? So 5 zeros, 6,700. And let's have a look at that climb back. So we're up 26% approximately. Back up in the chart, we've had the RSI floating along the bottom for many, many weeks at the moment, just oversold on the weekly. And you guys know we had structural change once we sort of hit this level here. So things are changing in the chart. So we had structural change for about 11 weeks here, fighting between the 72, 8,200 mark. We had a bit of a drift. Then we had that big red candle is the crypto crash for Bitcoin, and down we come, right? But we're still sitting as oversold for the weekly, and we're trying to fight our way back up and break this mega downtrend, right? That's the thesis. Is this the time? Is this the place? Certainly feels like it. We've got thin liquidity, low prices, lots of slushing pulse around. And so it's just about are we going to have more buyers and sellers? I mean, it's the end of the day, right? More buyers and sellers. It's not rocket science. And so, yeah, have we got any big black swan events to come? Well, we've already had a lot of the copied contracts that sort of fell over Compound and Maker and other things. Crypto Solve analysis suggested that's pretty much over. The liquidity is pretty thin. So, fingers crossed on that. Sacrifice set, are they exhausted? Are they pretty much it? Maybe there's a few Hexkins out there. We've still certainly seen Hex one recently, and still got power to dump the chart if they want to. So we're not completely out of the woods, but is that essentially exhausted as well? Back in the day, you could buy 85 to 90 million, 85 to $90,000. Sorry, you could buy $1 billion pulse. Now you can get it for $6,700. So are we there? Are we there? We've certainly got a lot of the right characteristics for the upside. David says we're still out there. We're still out here. Yeah, indeed, you are, David. So yeah, are we here? It's certainly looking good. Certainly looking good. Now, as we know in markets, if we do get a fourth wave down, for Bitcoin, then we can go down. But maybe sometimes we might resist. Maybe people just go, well, it's pretty negative rotation. Maybe there's more value here, so we'll see. But ultimately, if we did get another wave down, you might get rotation back in the majors. So it's a big if there. But at the moment, if we hold up, this could be very much the bottom here, and liquidity so thin anyway. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's going to be a bit of a battle, but certainly looking a lot of good characteristics for fighting the bottom here. Now, to break this mega downtrend, I've said this several times before, but I have 1,200 losing a zero, getting to 1,200, and then back at the 17, coming back to test 1,200 or 1,000 with 4 zeros, and then bouncing off somewhere. And what the future looks like. Hopefully, we get this mega uptrend. Now, this puts aside anything Richard Hart might do with the Magic Carp Ride stuff, with the Ethereum that got through the sacrifice processes, and depending on your view on what will happen with that, etc. All I know is that Richard Hart last year said that he is working hard, that he's after Pulsechain season, not altcoin season, and that he pulled out the number 10,000 on ETH, which we'd never seen him do before. So take with that what you will, but that's sort of the Magic Carpet Ride. So we'll have Pulsechain base, all the value being made by developers and all the people activity, and then we have plus, or maybe it's a multiplier with the Magic Carpet Ride in the future. So that's kind of a bonus that we may look out there that could completely change the game here. Certainly, the conditions right now are ideal for Richard Hart in terms of what he's talking about, but of course, also the ETH is based on the ETH fundamentals we just talked about in the first part of the show. So as that rises up, so does the power of that sacrifice money as well, should it be used on Pulsechain, right? We've seen Richard make a lot of moves last year and this year on reducing inflation in Hex and incentive token, changing the farms around. He's made a lot of chess moves over this period of time. So we'll see what happens moving forward here. He's obviously been hypercritical of the community in terms of dumping down the chart on the couple of occasions that magic money has come in. I think that was maybe underestimating what was happening with the SEC in those events at that time way back. So don't always get it right. Don't always get it right. Anyway, so victories in the play. We've got the SEC victory over 2 years. That was pretty brutal. We've had the sacrifice set as obviously a floor to the value, and hopefully we've got through a lot of that now. And then, of course, the bad contracts for the major contracts, essentially, if CryptoSol was right, that's probably ended as well. Now, we do have a few other ideas out there floating. We haven't had a lot of we haven't had hard forks on the chain, but maybe we'll get some of those moving forward. And we also haven't had, there's also a lot of, these second layer contracts running around that people are banking on as well to do things. So we'll see if that manifests itself in anything. Apart from that, we've had a lot of, client side stuff upgraded. And we'll see where that technology side goes in the future. But essentially, whatever happens on Ethereum with the new ETH org and all that development, we can pick and choose what we want, is my guess. And so we'll look to see whether those upgrades are applied in the future, and that would cause some excitement as well, right? That's definitely a big value driver for the chain, let alone all the developers doing stuff on Pulsechain at the moment. And so that's something we might see in the future as well, along with the market cap ride. There's a lot of value add from the Ethereum test net, as they call it, the test net for Ethereum for Pulsechain, right? So we'll see what happens in that space. David Feather would definitely have some views on that, I'm sure. All right, so here we are at the market. We've got the low RSI above oversold. We've got a pretty good price level. Let's see whether we can get back up at least to the 21 weekly moving average, which is at 5,09400, and that would be past our zone that we were fighting at between 72, 8200. So that's kind of the play. Let's see how this goes in the months ahead. Certainly, July is looking like a pivotal month to me, and so we'll watch out for that. And we'll see. Some of you guys may know what I'm talking about. Let's see what happens here. All right, so that is the pulse chart. Let's look at the top 100. Well, we've still got pretty low volume. We're still in this 2.5 to 3.5 million zone. And so we obviously want this to double, triple, quadruple. It means a lot more fees for the DEXs and DEX aggregators as well. Also encourages more capital to come into the markets. So we're obviously still humming along the bottom, right? And so we've got 250,000 transactions in the 24-hour. Out of that 3.3 million, Pulsex, our V2 DEX, is doing 2.4. So, out of 3.3, we're doing 2.4. And so we've still got 900K. 90mm has flipped back. Liberty Swap. So Liberty Swap and 90mm have been flipping each other back and forth. 90mm, of course, is the long-term number 2 holder. They're doing 400K. So still looking for just under 500K there. Liberty Swap, a V3 DEX as well. So both 90mm Liberty Swap V3s doing 300. So how much did I say? 400, 500. So maybe another 200. We've got SwitchX, which is a V4, doing about 100K. So I guess we've got 100 there, mixed with these little players like 9inch and Uniswap and maybe a few others there. So it almost balances there. So it's kind of cool. Now, the big new players are Liberty Swap and SwitchX with V3 and V4. SwitchX also brings us automated liquidity management. I think somewhere that Liberty Swap's working on as well. So that's kind of been kind of bullish. So these have been some of the exciting things. Where I said value is coming onto the chain during this bottom or bear market side, and that's only good for prices eventually catching up, and it's giving us all the infrastructure we need to move forward. So we're getting it all, guys. We did lack it over the last 3 years. So we're going to have plenty of wallet options. We're going to have plenty. We've got the DEXs, we've got the DEX aggregators, we've got the really key foundation with those, which is exciting. And we're starting to get some of the hot applications as well. Prediction markets, outcome markets, spot and perpetuals coming in July. We're getting a lot of innovation from some of the smaller teams as well in that space, but similarly, the big players and we're getting some big liquidity forks coming up as well. So we've got lots of cool stuff in the lending space happening as well, and stable coins too. So we're getting a lot of these top applications really rolling out, and some of it using actually hyperliquid technology, right? So it's all happening, and we're excited about where this is going. So we're not going to lack anything, and we're obviously getting fiat on ramps too, which are coming to be incorporated, and we're getting integrated solutions inside these wallets, which means that we don't lack anything really, do we? Just get out there, promote and market, and tell people, hey, look, you're not selling a down chain anymore. You're selling the bottom, and that's what you do in markets, right? You buy the bottom, and if we're in the bottom right now, then people coming in are going to be very happy with you indeed later on. That's kind of the play. Anyway, number one is X. X is up 45% right now. Been around for over a year. Ethos, one of our DeFi reflections there, is up 14% at 7.5 cents. OG WebShift's world's greatest PDI printer, earning PDI, one of these PDI projects. Ethos as well is also, I think I remember rightly, PDI. So we've got two PDI products at the top here, a reflection token and the world's greatest PDI printer are leaders right now. Liberty at the moment up 9%. Sun Minimal, the food giant in Europe, doing this specialty healthy foods and weight loss, is up 8.5%. And this is kind of boomed out of nowhere. It was down yesterday. Remember we talked about that? It had been running up for a couple of weeks, then it was down, and now it's back up to 5.4 cents again. So we'll be watching this. But the funny thing about this is that they're supposed to be going to Solana and they're doing testing over there. So we'll see what happens there. 9mm is up at 6.8%, and that's our second biggest DEX, right? So they're ticking away. And they've kind of been front running this trend reversal. That's why I wonder, is 9mm a bit of a leading indicator that we have hit the bottom? Because the chart's already kind of breaking out to the upside, particularly I think on the pulse ratio, and we can see that pretty clear here from October last year, and that's on the rise, right? And of course, people get a share of the profits from the DEX. We're only doing low volumes, but 2 weeks ago we were doing 8 to 10 million for a couple of days, and that's really healthy. It's like three and a half times more revenue, and so a lot bigger payday for the next month, I'm sure. For this month, the month of June will be a bigger payday. $1,773, and the market is moving there. It's kind of cool to see. All right, so we've got ICBM, one of our, I said we've got small projects, but a couple of these small projects have really innovative tokenomics, and ICBM has been one of those, along with SCADA, right? Those two, they're connected team, and they're up 6% and 4%. So those have been performing pretty well. SCADA is versus Pulse, and SCADA, their chart looking pretty healthy for a small boutique tokenomics, but certainly, if you can pick off the small projects that have really good communities and tokenomics, then it can do quite well. So off the back of SCADA is ICBM at number 7. It's up 6.6%, and you can see that's also up there pretty nicely. These are weekly candles. If we look at versus SCADA, that's been pretty volatile, but it's been benefiting from that price rise there. So look at that big pump and dump there on the ratio. But other than that, that's performing pretty well. Staked ETH there, up 4.6%, and Pump Tires Die. This is not the PDI one, the fork copy. That's up 4% as well. And then under that, number 10 is SCADA. So those are your top 10 right now. It's not a big day on Pulsechain, but a couple of little movers there, particularly PDI printers, I would say. PDI earners. Moving further down, we're going to go down here. We've got Smorg. Smorg is part of a reflection printer ecosystem. We've got 3 projects, 2 printers, and this reflection project, Smorg, up 3% right now. Vouch, one of our 2 big public validators. David Feder would know a lot about that, since he dominates the supply of hardware to the validators on Pulsechain, something like 70%. So we got 3% up today on the old Vouch, and of course Jaxa is the one that does that, Jaxa, and super smart guy. We had an interview with him, only a month or 2 ago. Fantastic guy there, and really optimizing the yield on Vouch public validating. It's a bit like Lido or Rocket Pool, and the other one, of course, is Validator X from PlusX, right? They also provide that service. Not with the same tokenomics, though. They got exactly the same. They got their different features. What else we got there? Petius at the moment at number 15, up 2.2%. But quiet in the Telegram community there. They need to probably ramp that up, but they're working hard. They may be one of the 2 projects that bring us a lot of AI solutions to Pulsechain. We're kind of lacking in the AI space, I think. Obviously, with that being the mega theme, we need more work done there by devs. But they've been working, I don't know if on that phase 2, they had a sacrifice doing AI and trading. I'm not sure we've seen anything on that yet, but that's something that we're looking forward to. Let us know in the chat if you guys have seen anything on that. Then we get into Richard Hart coins for the most part. All the coming way down here. We've got Coin Mafia at the moment from Rack and Michelle at 1.93, $1.93, at 1% there after a bit of a sell-off there. We are waiting to see whether a couple more thousand validators come into play to support that project, as he's indicated. PC the Greys, obviously doing a big migration coming up for UFO. I think they had a big X space overnight. So that's coming up with the UFO migration, obviously after some sort of AI bot got around there for Texas, and so they had to relaunch the UFO. What else we got going on here? Doubt token number 40 up a little bit there. So we've got a few little green ones. Peacock slightly green, holding slightly up there at the moment at 1.067 cents, let's say. So we've got a Peacock there holding up a little bit there. So at the moment, we've got 55 coins that are slightly green. And since Pulsechain was down about 1/3%, that means that about 60% of the coins, maybe slightly more, doing better than Pulse right now. Looking at the ones that are down today, let's have a look at the ones that are really down. Well, PDI Mint. So we've got a couple of PDI projects that are winning today. Ethos and World's Greatest PDI Printer. But we've got a loser as well, and that is P-Mint. P-Mint down 39% there. That's pretty dramatic. And on 11K volume. There we go. So PDI Mint there under pressure there. Too good a project, is it? Too good rewards and getting a dump fest. But certainly that's starting to break down. Where will it go? I mean, there's no real telling. I guess the RSI might give you a bit of an idea, but I don't know. It might smash that too. Let's have a look. So that's where we are on that. X Game, of course, relaunched by Firewhale. And he's got a couple of games there, 3 games. There's a multi-chain solution, I understand it, with some Pulsechain stuff there. Like I say, was very optimistic for Firewhale. I think he made a few mistakes. I think he could admit those himself, and has, around tokenomics and who you're aligned with, and also the games themselves, right? So, and I think a big lacking was promotion, just not doing that correctly. So there's a number of things there. He has relaunched though, so good luck to him on all that. Obviously, we always like people to succeed. Entrepreneurship is very, in the real world, let alone crypto, is very tough. And so we'll see what happens there. The only thing I would say is that they did have a Telegram bot. They had referrals on that. They did not pay those out. So, if you want to show honor, you should be, honoring those things. So we'll see what happens in the future with that. But the X Game had a nice little 2-week pump there. We go to the daily. You can see 1, 2. This one here looks like a front runner. So this looks like an inside job, doesn't it? This first move looks like an inside job, and then you can decide what's happening there. But we're at 1/1200th of a penny right now on that chart. All right, what else we got going? We got the Peacock Ninjas OG Web Chef printer. Now, obviously, these high risk, high return kind of plays. They offer high yield, but you do have to get in at the right price and exit at the right price if you're going to exit. Otherwise, you can stay in for a long time and just keep earning the yields. But once again, you never know what this chart's going to do, right? They do move the volumes around quite a bit and etc. But you can see the volumes at the moment ticking away at around 24,000 on the main peer. Just subsiding a little bit here down to 15 to 16. So it just dropped off there. But price is still holding at 301. But, the further it goes out, the riskier it is. And then they can always turn this on later on down the stream. And they earn quite a bit of money, dominating the wallet. I think they had like 90% of the wallet. So they're earning most of those fees, over $500,000 the first time I calculated a couple of days back. And that was back here, I think. So, it is what it is. Pump tires at the moment. Pump tires also down 12%. That had a bit of a pump yesterday, didn't it? Yeah, it did. See, look at had a pump at least the last couple of days anyway. It's sold off the last couple of days, but actually was pumping pretty nicely. And we looked at the stats on there, over $1 million essentially, depending on when you look at price of Pulse, has been burned off there. So doing a good job. Pepe meme coin down 7.6%. Not really meme coin season anymore, is it? But get little pumps on copied chains, at least pump tire versions. ALGO Hex derivative down 6.5%. Bonnie there as well, down 4.5% there. GoPulse down 3%. And liquid loans down 2.7%. So there we go. There's some of the losers today on the old chart. Best friends forever, right? Best friends forever. All right, let's jump over to the some of the news. Let's go look for some news here. Haven't really set this up today, so we're doing it organically. We're 1 hour and 24 minutes into the live show. Let's go see what Liberty Swap's got to hold. They are the big Kraken project right now on Pulsechain. And then actually we're going to go look at the where we've got here. We'll go to Brandon first to look at SwitchFi. We're going to go to the monster thread too. Actually, no, it's not. We got. I don't think we got anything for Fast Abdul either, will we? Let's have a quick look at Fast Abdul. We've got some new projects coming, guys, and some of them are very good indeed. I can't wait to talk about them on the live stream. Nothing near, but let's go quickly look at Liberty Swap, see what they've got to say. We have some really good projects coming. Can't wait to talk. Yeah, they're really cool. I don't think that they're known yet, so that's why I'm not talking about them. But until they're formally released, let's see here. Where are we going? We're going all the way back down the bottom here, downtown, to Liberty Swaps updates today. How far are we having to go back? I don't know. 11 hours ago. I don't know if we talked about that. Yeah, we'll jump through here, but we'll go back to here. They're going to have their dashboard. What happened here? Their dashboard and wallet will be in one and the same. Yeah, their mobile is going to be integrated, so it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, I was talking about July and laughing about it, right? July. Well, you guys know that Liberty Swap's been going on about July for a long time, months and months and months. So Liberty Swap's been doing that pretty crazy. So Liberty Swap, July. So everyone's going, what is July? So you can decide what July is. Life will be so good. Good things are coming. July is our season, July. And they've been talking about July for many, many months. So, there's a few speculations on what that means. But in any case, bullish for Pulsechain. Heavy computational workload. We are bringing Railgun project back to mobile this month. So remember that Railgun is the hybrid version from Ethereum. And of course, it's ETH to Pulsechain and back again. But they will be launching their contracts of Railgun on Pulsechain itself, which will be very exciting coming up too. So it's going to be very, very cool. They've got a World Cup competition on at the moment with $10, earning some peacocks. You can check that out. 5 hours ago, this is a cool idea. Our team has gladly contributed to the awards for the winners for the World Cup there, so you can go play that. What else is going on here? Now, we talked about this earlier with the ETH development. Well, Liberty Swap's kind of following this too. So, yep, we'll be following that. Friend, keep your hopes up. We're preparing to launch a full exchange experience inside the ZKX wallet, including spot trading and Liberty perpetuals. We used to have a lot of, putting internet money aside, which has been fantastic. And they have a certain user approach as well. We've always had a problem with not having enough wallets and truly integrated and smooth experiences. But this is all changing now on Pulsechain, right? So we've got Liberty Swap there with the ZKX wallet. They're going to have a fully exchange experience integrated. On and off ramping will be fast as well. Simple native Pulsechain. You'll be able to self-custody your assets while accessing the market low fees. Portion of the fees will go towards buyback and burning the coins we love. So presumably they're meaning Peacock there. But we've also got Ramp Now coming with a wallet, and also Cappy wallet coming from Alex McFurter. So we're not going to lack wallets anymore, and having a good 4 wallets is pretty cool. These are blue chip wallets, as we would call them. Obviously, there's a few others out there you can use, but dedicated to Pulsechain, multi-chain is pretty awesome. And being able to actually see transaction values and everything else. So auto coin readers and on and on. So it's pretty exciting. So we've got the DEXs, the DEX aggregators, the wallets. Like I say, everything is laying the foundation of value on the chain. So I'm really excited about where we're heading here. It is very different from what we've experienced in the past, and it's exciting. All right, so if you haven't played around with the ZKP wallet, definitely give it a go. They will be putting the code public within about a year of launching, so that's going to be public as well. There are 30 billion pulse on the Peacock bid side and Liberty V3, and another 20 billion across the DEXs. The goal is to build 100 billion pulse on the bid side to support Peacock's future liquidity. We will get there in the end. So obviously continuing to build on Peacock, which is the store of value for their token. What else they got there? Also, a substantial amount of stablecoins and ETH is being added to the ecosystem, and several new strategies are being deployed. Exciting times ahead for Peacock there. All right, so there's continuing to rock up there. What else are we seeing? Ethereum may become one of the most profitable, capital-efficient blockchains of this era, an age of Ethereum entrepreneurship fueled by Wall Street capital institution adoption. Pulsechain has a different mission, and this is very true. its role is to attract liquidity while remaining a safe harbor for retail participants there. So obviously a big deal there is staying truly DeFi, and privacy is king, right? So this is what Pulsechain is definitely pivoting to strongly, and this is exciting that we're going to take that niche operation on the crypto, because a lot of other chains are all giving up. They're all giving up their control and privacy, etc. But not a Pulsechain. Pulsechain is going to try and be that special place that people can go to, a place where small teams and everyday investors still have a chance to compete and thrive in a world increasingly dominated by large institutions. Pulsechain preserves something equally valuable: opportunity there. Yeah, promise that blockchain technology can expand social mobility, empower independent market participants, and give ordinary people their shot at creating a better future. Now, in Pulsechain and Richard Hart's vision, we trust and build. Now, this is very important. So, Pulsechain has to stand out with its differentials, and I think it's some of these features, these characteristics are what the community should be pushing, should be promoting out there in the wider crypto market, because it really is what's going to make it particularly stand out amongst other things. So, all right, so kind of cool. What about there? Let's see here. So that's pretty much the highlights there from Liberty Swap. Now I do want to go to the monster thread to finish the show. We've got a big show today, obviously, an hour and a half so far. But we're going to go through the monster thread, which is the hottest weekly news as a publication of the Crypto Night Show. The promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show is MVS Crypto. You may have seen him out on X, out and about. And also he's the editor-in-chief of the monster thread itself. So we're going to get into that. Let me just find the first post here somewhere. Where did I find it? I'm going to go up here, first post. Maybe I've gone too far. Here it is here. So monster thread number 59. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. It's the perfect thing to share around. We got a wild SJ in the house. Appears suddenly. Suddenly magically appears. Fantastic. I hope you're doing well. I loved your live stream from the Hive in California. That's so much fun, and you have the biggest smile in the world. The biggest smile. Positive princess in the house has appeared. All right, so what else? There's the monster thread, number 59. Number 59. And yeah, Captain was there too, right? Captain was there in another chat, which I can't remember the name off the top of my name off the top of my head, I see. Top of my tongue. That's the way I'm supposed to say that, aren't I? All right, so monster thread number 59. Welcome. All right, so that is it. Share it around, folks. Perfect for onboarding. 59 weeks of the hottest Pulsechain news, and it is a neutral publication. What does that mean? That means that it doesn't matter, who you are, whatever, whether you're particularly liked or not liked. It is you may get into the monster thread as the news. So there we go. Richard on privacy. Richard Hart, anonymity was the standard practice that allowed the United States to exist. Privacy is normal. So this is a key part of Pulsechain moving forward, right? Is anonymity and privacy, right? So obviously ProveX, Liberty Swap, and others are leading the way on this on Pulsechain, and it's one of our big sell points on the chain. I think that's something that needs to be continually expressed there. Wildest J's in the house again. Thanks for all you do, sir. Holding it down every day. I appreciate that, Wildest J. Likewise. All right, very cool. We got Liberty volume leader. Liberty Swap V3 accounts for roughly 1/5 of Pulsechain's trading volume, and the second only to Pulsex at this level of the weekend. Obviously, that's flipped back a little bit to 9mm today, but certainly it's fun to see those flip one, number two, number three spots on the dexes, and of course also offering dex aggregators as well. Thousands of tablets. We got Triple Dad. Triple Dad does a great job, so big shout out to him. Just got over 20,000 tablets to set up 3 marketing hubs in North Carolina. Well, Wild SJ is a key player in that now, isn't she? So hubs are expanding across America, guys, and across the world. So very, very cool. Last count, I remember there were 18 hubs in America, but I think that's expanding rapidly to all 52 states. I'm kidding, 50 states, I know. It's amazing. I watched some of those videos, and they interview people on the streets in America, and they go, "How many states are there?" 52. There's 52 states. What are the three parts of government? I don't know. McDonald's. McDonald's. I don't know. Have you ever seen those videos? They're pretty funny. Anyway, so we got Triple Dad just got over 20,000 tablets, so that's a huge number. So we awesome stuff there. I know you'll get those out in California, Northern California there. What else there? The Hive AMA. So we just talked about that actually. A Wild SJ in the house, and Captain RG3 hosted an epic stream from the Hive. We can actually see that actually on the old film. So let's watch that. Watch out for a Wild SJ's beautiful smile here, about to come under face. There we go, and beams across the screen there. How about that? But look at the guys in the background; they are working hard. They've got the captain RG3 there, the peace sign. He's doing some labeling, and then a chap in the back who I just don't remember his name, but we've got them doing the packaging there. But look, all the boxes in the background there in the hive, and these guys are working hard and pushing Pulsechain. So this is what community spirit and the hard work gets you, is an expansion of the empire. Let's say very, very exciting, and I love the little Hex and Pulsechain stuff they've got. So definitely give them a follow. Awesome stuff happening there. All right, what about Berlin Blockchain Week? Now this is very different. So something that Pulsechain is sort of picking up the pace as time goes by, is doing a lot of these conferences for crypto. We've seen a number of people like Maddie Allen and Liquid Lines Crypto Crazy and stuff going to conferences, and a few other people going to conferences, obviously, in Las Vegas and Florida, in Southeast Asia, places like that. But we also got Ben Sierra this week is talking about Hex at the Berlin Blockchain Week. So isn't that cool? And we're going to have a little look at this too. So we've got people all around. Now, Ben is one of our Hex quants, right? And does our quants. And he is going to the Berlin. So he's done that, doing the legwork and spreading the word. And so there is Ben himself, normally does the Hex reports. And welcome to W3.hub. So very, very cool. So there is in Berlin there, the Deutschlander. So big shout out to Ben there. Happy Father's Day for Father's Days in the United States. So Neil for crypto, obviously well-respected community member in Pulsechain, wished a happy Father's Day to the community while highlighting over 483 billion Pulse deposits into True DeFi, which is the project that him and Daniel manage. It's kind of the first project to bring managed funds to Pulsechain. They have a SRE fund that goes around investing in top protocols, and they end up, they've also got their auction and 2x miner to try and double people's pulse. So it's kind of a managed funds approach. And they've been doing a great job. 483 billion total deposits have rotated through into that protocol so far. And I think they've had 1,700 people double their pulse through their miners here. So they're doing a great job there with True DeFi. Kevtron's collectibles. Kevtron says, I've become a top rated seller with my eBay store, Kevtron's collectibles. He has plans to propose his girlfriend also on this upcoming vacation. Now, one thing I would say about Monster 59, it does seem to be a very romantic edition this week. That's one thing I would say, a very romantic edition, which we love. Love is in the air. So was it the greatest thing of all time is love? So there we go. That is in there, and he's got some cool stuff there with his Kevtron's shop there. So it looks like he's going to propose to this lovely lady here. Very, very cool. He's rocking that cool mountain climber beard too, isn't he? Rocking that. All right, so kind of cool. The Vault audit. Fast Abdul shouted out Brandon and recommended build the tech while highlighting the Vault 369 audit. Vault launching soon. I'm excited about Vault. Multi-chain, multi-collateral liquidity fork with a few surprises, says Fast Abdul. So obviously the audit is through and build the tech process there. Very, very cool. Of course, Brandon there, also the founder of Switch and SwitchXFi, right? Our latest DEX and DEX aggregator there, or one of the latest DEX and DEX aggregators. Buck Hats Bonanza, Pulsechain Store. We've got a couple of merch, community sites. Pulsechain Store, probably the biggest of them all, now has bucket hats. Sorry, I should say, available in the store. I'm not saying that very well, am I? But here is there. So you want to get a bucket hat. It's got all the hex.com. It's got all the PulseX, Pulse incentive token. This guy's rocking all the triple factor there. Kind of cool. So there we go. You can get those from if you're after merch from Pulsechain Store. Very cool. Hex T-share report. Now I talked about Ben Sierra being one of our Hex quants. Well, the other Hex quant is Crispy Man / aka Hexfire, right? Dropped another Hex T-share report, Walled Garden of Hex Mining. Well worth, if you want to deep dive into Hex, which was one of the top 4 or 5 coins in the last bull market. You can through all of his charts here. You can geek out on all that. Very, very cool. So it's got the new share rate here of Hex. You can see it says it's climbing over time. Part of the secret source of Hex. Of course, if you guys remember Kyle the Dev, right? Kyle the Dev there, talking about how that was created. So it was kind of pretty innovative at the time, right? All right, so kind of cool. Yummy steaks and tablets. Say what? Oh, everyone loves a yummy steak, I guess, unless you're a vegan, I guess, as a vegan. We got Susie Q in house, handed out Pulsechain promo tablets. So obviously, see, this is really ramping up. We've got a lot of community people out there walking the streets in some form or another all around the world handing out Pulsechain promo pads. So it's getting out there. Very exciting. So, it takes building momentum, let's say, at the local steakhouse, real world grassroots marketing in action, and just shows you can do little things go a long way. And there's the pad there. That's the evidence of the steakhouse. The one thing I like about steakhouses is Brandon. Brandon goes to a lot of these steakhouse, does these vlogs at the steak. Always makes me hungry every time he does it. Every time, I'm not kidding you. And he just has a chat for about an hour while he's eating some big fancy steak. Anyway, here is the old pad there, sitting on one of the cars that is dropping them out there. There's another truck there. Got a Pulsechain pad. So the word's getting out there, folks. Doesn't matter how it happens, but more people are seeing them, which is pretty cool. That's from Susie Q. Rampeg now? It's a bit of play on words there. Rampeg now. Live official ramp now, one of our top bridges. Fiat on ramps as well. Announced PDI are now available on ramp now. Users can onboard using cards, Apple Pay, Google Pay, SEPA, Open Banking, Revolut, N26, Skrill, and with any fiat now. They've really widened out the fiat on ramping to Pulsechain, and you can use a lot of those stuff. They're pretty competitive on fees as well. What else can I say? They're also building out one of the big wallets coming to Pulsechain. So Ramp now doing a great job there. A team, I think, largely based out of Australia, if I'm right. Now, record HEX penalties. Pulsechain stats this month saw the largest early in-stake penalties in HEX history. Now, I used to follow this very closely, as you guys know. I used to be doing the daily HEX stats. And you can see the big candle there. Look at that. Oh, my God. Yeah, big candle. We've got December 2019. So, yeah, that's huge. Look at that. Woohoo! That's almost 1.4 billion HEX. Is that right? Wow, that's pretty crazy stuff. So a big week there. Last daily penalty, 142,000 HEX there. What's this? Last week, penalties, 15.5 million. And last month, penalties, 1.95 billion. Wow. So there we go. That's a daily chart there, but that candle's pretty huge. So they ain't lying when they say that. So this month saw the largest early and in-stake HEX penalties in HEX history, even with roughly half of that amount sold into thin liquidity. So half of them sold there. HEX proved how resilient it is. Believers stepped in, bought the blood, and price rebounded strongly. So obviously HEX is going to benefit from anything Rich Hart ever does or any market maker does, but also it's still got a legacy big community, right? Even if a lot of them are doing other stuff right now. Once you see a bit of green candles, a bit of movement on HEX, you'll see the active users suddenly jump big time, right? So it's kind of what we're looking for there. That's what real conviction looks like. So that was from Pulsechain Stats. RWA, so real world assets on Pulsechain. Crypto Coffee made a video on Harry Tran, RWA, and his daily dose of RWAs there. Posting highlights, RWA opportunities across the crypto space, including Token Haven. And Token Haven's there. I haven't really looked at that myself. A little project there. Tokenized real estate, democratized access. So, obviously, real estate's a perfect example of real world assets, part of the tokenization process or theme. Pulsechain Curve, of course, is another example of that, right? It's a basic example of that Curve doing the property there, and that's from Crypto Coffee. And he's been doing a great bunch of videos, isn't he? Crypto Coffee on a lot of different Pulsechain topics, including liquidity, RWAs, and wallets and things like that. So big shout out to Coffee there. Right. So we are getting, I guess the beginning of some of that sort of tokenization theme, AI theme happening on Pulsechain. I think we've got a lot of more work to roll out there, a lot more value to roll out. Obviously, we've got Curve out there and a few other projects, but certainly moving some of the DeFi projects moving into AI. We obviously Batias is out there. We may get a big solution from them coming up, and then we've got Liberty Swap coming up with spot and perpetuals next month. So we are getting on that game, and that's where a lot of the value and trend is at right now with those applications. And so we'll keep following that. Heart of the Cards, Brother KG attended UGO Regionals qualifier in San Antonio, Texas. Now, Project Brother KG, of course, is the founder of the Internet Money Wallet, and he's playing this game. Now, this game apparently is like a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, but like on an infinity option level. 40 chess that takes incredible mind power and luck to triumph there. So he's playing the heavyweight game. You can see some of those cards. Kind of cool. I would like to see a card, something like a card game thing on Pulsechain. I think Peacock would be the natural benefit of bit with their branding for that. But I'd like to see sort of like those, maybe not this game, but maybe Pokemon with this more simple game there with the power energy cards and things. But that'd be pretty cool. And maybe they could base it all around Peacock because I think that fits pretty well. Have you ever seen someone did a mock up of a Peacock Pokemon type card? Looked amazing. And if you had a website and then you could integrate the third-party options, because some of these third-party options have these as well. We might check that out later, actually, because since we're having a long show, we might get into that. But that's KG. Hope he wins. Hope he wins there. The Wolf of Pulsechain, Saint Wolf, obviously, a regular Pulsechain streamer, does a great job. He says, went live for another stream entitled Crypto Market Update, BTC, ETH, and Pulsechain. So he's out and about there, and he's got a very groovy stream there. You can see, and he's covering Wild SJ there too, shouting out some love. So there's him there. So if you haven't followed Saint Wolf, go give him a follow, and doing some great coverage there of Pulsechain as well as ETH and Bitcoin. All right, love is in the air. I said love is in the air. Love is in the air. Every sight and every sound, something like that, isn't it? That good old Aussie song. We got Psychedelics is excited to. Cypherdex. Excited to celebrate his first family vacation with his soulmate, Irvin Mandy. There we go. They got a cool couple photos here. Now I was a bit confused with this because it said 1 year with my soulmate, but I'm pretty sure they've been based on Mandy's comment. They've known each other 28 years, so I don't know whether that's just a typo or what's going on there. But anyway, they're off to the beach for a big family holiday, and you can see a sort of a photo that must have been, maybe 10 years ago. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And then you got a photo today. But love is in the air there, guys. And that is beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful there. So congrats to both of them. Very nice. All right. So that was a great way to finish the Monster Thread news for episode or edition number 59. We do have some honorable mentions, though. We got Crapdoor Matt caught sleeping on his Father's Day job. I got to look at this. Got to look at this one. So there we go. Look, every father, deserves to have a rest, right? Especially on Father's Day. And lazing by the pool with the family. You can't do much better than that, can you? All right, so that's pretty awesome. We got Turbo Peaked shared his epic Pulsechain merch. Let's see here, he probably just got from the merch store. I mean, he's got this cool P-Dash. Is it a P-Dash sword or a Dash sword anyway? And he's got the old emblem there as well, the old medallion. Big shout out there. So what do you say about this? P-Dye Nicholas showed up just in time for Father's Day, and of course had to break out the P-Dye dagger for this full setup. Pegged or nothing. There we go. So pretty awesome. I thought that was pretty cool. So good stuff happening there. What else we got there? We also got Ilgi, is it Ilgi? Spreading Pulsechain stickers whenever he's got a chance. Now, there's definitely been a theme. We've seen stickers pop up everywhere. There's actually, I think it was a Triple Dad put a sticker on the southern border of America. So somewhere along that line, maybe probably in California borderline, but put a sticker on the border wall there. I thought that was hilarious. Hexkin there, Hexkins for life. Pulsechain, hex.com, very cool. In fact, Pulsechain Hex stickers they're very bold, aren't they? So they really stand out compared to a lot of stickers. So that's probably not a bad strategy there. And I guess, they're quasi-environmentally friendly, in terms of degrading at some stage. You can see this Pulsex here, getting a bit of sunlight there. That corner is going to face a lot of wrath from the looks of it, like refraction there. So that was pretty cool from there. And week 14, so 720 Crypto, we've been following his journey with his Hex portfolio. He's on week 14. I think he's on week 15, actually. I think he's gone past 1 million. But week 14, he definitely hit 1 million. And you can see his Hex stakes all lining up here. So kind of cool. Over 1 million, but I think he's got even further than this. In fact, let's just quickly go to his account. Excuse me. And week 14, look at that. So he's up to 1.2 million Hex. That's a big jump start from 1 million to 1.2. And so, 1.2. What would that be worth at 50 cents? 1.2. 1.2 million. Should work this out in my mind, but, a little bit not quite as fresh as I was. Times 50 cents. So that would have been $600,000 at the peak of Hex. But you can pick that up for, I don't know, how much is that now? $100, $200, I don't know. But definitely buy low, sell high. That's the play. Since starting the what's the value on that? Actually, does it have value 1.2? It doesn't actually show on there. Since starting the week 15 DCA challenge, prices dropped 39%. This is why dollar cost averaging is important. I hope some of you have been DCAing and grabbing TCS with me. Well, hopefully when you find the bottom, it will really pay off there, and that cost $100 there. There we go. On the last on that total. So, man, chance to pick up a ton of hex. And look, there's depending on how much hex is in the pools, and it could really move pretty fast there. And hex there is was it second largest liquidity, I think. Third largest liquidity, so can actually move pretty fast, the old hex, when it wants to. All right, so very cool stuff from there. Nice little ladder, T-share ladder. Remember, just trying to remember, was it Hodl Dog? Do you remember Hodl Dog? He was one of our big 15 influencers, as I would say. He was I based it on the old spreadsheet, if you guys remember. And he used to do this staking ladder at the beginning of Hex, and he was doing stakes every day, and he was doing these big stakes, like big positions. And the problem is that the gas prices got expensive on Ethereum, that it was super expensive to end them. So he had to pay quite a bit. I think he spent like, I don't know, was it $20,000 or something, $30,000? Can't remember exactly, but he had to reposition all those hex stakes at the time because of the S-load function on Ethereum. And of course, part of the rationale for Pulsechain was about the gas prices. And so, yeah, it was pretty interesting. We haven't seen Hodl Dog for a while, though, have we? We haven't seen him for a while. Let me know your thoughts on your fond memories of Hodl Dog. I know he's out there somewhere doing his thing. I remember him at the Hex, Hex party with Richard Hart, and I think he lifted Richard Hart or something, or Richard Hart lifted him. And Richard Hart lifted Hodl Dog, and they swung around at the party. Remember that? That was some good times, and Richard was wearing that gold outfit there. It was pretty cool. All right, some flashback memories there. All right, so that is from our crypto. Let's go back up here. And then finally, we've got popular DeFi. We've got Switch, of course, from Brandon. Save your money using Switch limit orders. We've got Emmett Farm, crossed $150,000, guys, and stablecoins inside 15 months. 15 months that the participants and emitter NFTs have minted out. So they minted out all the emitter NFTs now, and also he runs the ZKP. ZKP and those NFTs sold out as well. So I said it's not really meme coin season, not really NFT season either. But Emmett Farm Chorus has managed to sell out 2 NFTs, one of them over time and the other one within a few days. So, Chorus is doing a great job in the DeFi NFT space there, offering a lot of utility. True DeFi, like I said, 700 miners have now received 2 times their Pulse and 406 billion Pulse dividends distributed. So, Neil and Daniel doing a great job there with True DeFi. So big shout out to Chorus from Emmett Farms and True DeFi. They've also got True Farm. Both True Farm and Emmett Farm offer some of the highest yields on Pulsechain farms. So check that out if you're after that. Pre-Banana obviously shared about the token migration announcement for UFO to deal with that bot, bypassing the taxes. And then ZKP NFT block mining. So if you guys might not be aware, but ZKP is doing block mining. We're going to check that in a second. And also ZKP is a printer that was the first mover on what's actually more of a DeFi reflection, I call it, as opposed to printer tokens. So I don't know why I'll printer here, but it's certainly giving you ProofX there. So I guess that in that sense. KC Crypto shared updates from Morbius Gaming Ecosystem and Morbius Scanner. So he's been offering some really good utility. If you check out that scanner, it's amazing. So check that out if you put in tokens and stuff. But also he's been doing leading in some of the games like casino games and things. So you can check that out too, poker and things like that. And obviously Superman in the house there with interviews. So some pretty good stuff. But the community's doing some pretty amazing stuff. We've got a bunch of great people, as you can see, all doing their thing and geeking out there on the games. Like pretty cool. All right, so that's some of the cool stuff there from them. Let's see how we're doing for time. An hour 54. We're not doing too bad today. Let's quickly check out. So some of the highlights there. We've got the Switch site there, so you can go and check out all the details for Switch and Switch Fine. Pretty awesome. And I love this graphic here showing all the advantages you're getting there with that. So we're getting real value. That's what I said. We're getting real value projects landing on Pulsechain. And this is very, very bullish at the bottom of the market. I think that's very exciting. And getting you the best value, right, which is key. Obviously, the 2x miners there, 1,700 miners so far received 2x their Pulse. That's from True DeFi. So if you're after something with a managed fund approach, that's what these guys do with True DeFi. You go into the auction. I would definitely get into Telegram and ask them about how the auction works and getting the maximize to get you advantage. That would definitely help speed up that 2x multiplier for your pulse. But that is doing very well. And of course, they launched True Farms as well. What else is in the monster thread? We got the ZKP. This is from Kairos. And they sold the ZKPs out, peer NFT collection, very quickly, 1,500 of those. And now they are you can buy them on the marketplace now. I think the floor is like 3.3 million now. And you can deploy your ZK to solve blocks. So they've made a sort of a blockchain on top. I'm not quite sure how that works, but some sort of digital blockchain perhaps. They have epochs and block heights and all that sort of stuff. So some of you may not be aware of that, but you can get your NFT and start earning SH rewards, which is the token for that block reward. And it's pretty cool. So I think that's kind of fun use of NFTs. And also they still have their printer, right? So you can buy ZKP, stake it, and earn ProofX. And of course, 5% of every trade goes to support the ProofX there. Kind of neat. So taken away there, they got now 2 tokens, the SH from the block rewards and the ZKP printer there earning ProofX, but you can put it in farms for yields as well. So they got the Emmet Farm yield offerings there too. So yeah, it's kind of a very cool system. Pretty nice on that. So I think that's kind of the highlights there. And of course, you can't not talk about the Kryptonite show. And so we got a lot of shout outs to a lot of teams, hot communities to watch right now. Got a cool list of those. Also got some shout outs to the X Spaces. So yeah, we often talk about influence and stuff, but we got a lot of community influencers on X doing X Spaces. You can see many of them here, from Krath and Strident to Execute, Midnight, Shillgates. They're all there. Rep Pleb, Wartime General, Prince LF. I mean, there's lots of players in there doing X Spaces, and they have some very good ones there. So if you want to get into the dialogue, that's the place to go. I've done some pretty big interviews with some of the top teams as well. We've got the True DeFi team there with Neil and Daniel. Real Xavier, mega influencer. He's got like 500,000, 535,000 followers on X. Puts him in the top couple of thousand. And then we've got Heart with Dog, the top anime series on Pulsechain, which is just exciting. I really love it. And we're looking forward to season 2 coming. Amiga DAO Finance with the Cabal King. That was a really fun interview and getting a bit of insight into his DeFi projects. So kind of cool. And then Emmet Farm with Kairos, who's absolutely crushing it. So you can definitely see amongst Kairos, the Cabal King, True DeFi, we're getting some of the hottest DeFi interviews on Pulsechain. It's been a lot of fun interviewing those guys, all great people. And of course, Superman in the house. There we go. All right, so some fun stuff there. We're coming up to 2 hours. I was going to look at something else, but I just can't remember what it was at the end of the day. Oh, yes, we're going to look quickly at my reply. So we've done a lot of political replies. So yeah, let's go have a look at what I did for Liberty Swap there somewhere. But I did do a reply here suggesting that they go look at some of the yeah, I'm not sure where I put it actually. So I might pull it up tomorrow and we'll talk about that regarding if we had some sort of Pokemon game, we actually opened up cards. That'd be cool. And if they're all random power cards. I mean, there's a lot of thinking to go on, I guess, or you could get AI to speed it up. But just like how Pokemon works, we could get something like that on Pulsechain. That could be pretty cool if done right. And then you can offer the offering onto third-party sites, because third-party sites will often have the classic Pokemon, but they'll have some of the other popular packs that are out there these days that people like to collect and follow. And so you could put the Peacock kind of collection up there. I just think Peacock makes great for that kind of collection there, and you can have all sorts of things, power cards, the usual thing. And obviously the rarity there with using NFTs and things like that, I guess, is the way you'd go. But that'd be pretty cool if you opened up a digital pack and there was, I don't know how many cards are in those packs, 60 cards or 20 cards or something. I can't remember exactly. But we do definitely know that some of the KOLs on Pulsechain like those and collecting those. I think maybe B-Roots even, but certainly some of the Surf Token guys, KOLs there, Amaru and that. So it could be some really cool option there. Anyway, food for thought there. But I think it's a great opportunity, and if it marketed right, could work very well. All right, so that is pretty much it. I think we're going to finish there. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and smash the follow on X. And if you have liked the show, hit the repost on X. It helps a lot. And all you have to do is hit the little double arrows here and just smash that out. Now, if you're watching other streamers on Pulsechain, and then don't forget to repost their show as well. and get it out to more and more people and pump your own bags, as they say. All right, July's coming up. Apparently, it's going to be a special month, says Liberty Swap. So I think July's going to be good too, but we'll see. We'll see. So look out, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited for a couple of projects coming up. Vault 369, multi-chain, multi-liquidity fork. There's another secret project coming too, guys, and it looks pretty damn good. It's something that I've had in my mind for a long time, and someone's doing it, so which is great. And then we've got spot and perpetuals coming from Liberty Swap. Obviously, mobile wallet as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun moving forward into there. And there's so much stuff. If you guys haven't gone to my strategy club, get in there. Posted a mega update on Liberty Swap and that, and it's got all the secret sauce in there. So you can find the links to Strategy Club in the link in the video description or pinned to the top of X here, and you'll go through the Root store and join up into our private Discord club, and you'll get all the insights there. It was a full report on Liberty Swap, both in the past and in the future. Hint, hint. And maybe July is going to be pretty special moving forward there. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Big shout out to all the community people. We've had a Wild SJ in the house. They're doing an amazing job with Hive and with reality TV shows in Ecuador. We've also got Dave Feder in the house there, dominating the provision of hardware for the validators, doing a great public service there. Big shout out to David and many other great people watching as well. So big shout out. All right, I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Bye for now. Take care.